Hi friends, hello and welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart with Attitude. On this podcast, I share with you inspiring and engaging posts to challenge you as you journey to live your best life, even as I journey to live mine. It's always an interesting time when I get to share with you guys, and I'm always excited. Right, so today, what are we going to talk about? Well, I'm just going to say first and foremost, happy December. How have you been? How's life been with you? Are you already in the festive season? And how has everything been with you? So today, right, I just want to come here to say hi and then, to share tips with you on finding rest in, a fast-paced world. So, first and foremost, you may notice that my voice is a little bit hoarse. I'm managing a sore throat, so bear with me. Right. So, let's get into it. So, the season we are in today, right? It's it's a very festive season, and many people about their work, many people about the season, many people about their life, and life in itself can be stressful. As someone who is a proponent of awesome living, I shout about it. I'm an awesome living advocate. What does awesome living mean to me? To me, right? I define awesome living as living a life that is well-rounded, right? And in short terms, a happy, healthy, and wealthy life. Now, this could mean different things to different people, but the summary of it all is when you live your life, you should find what makes you happy without compromising on your health and also building a wealthy life. So a wealthy life is not just in money, but wealth of knowledge, wealth of relationships, friendships, and also wealth in terms of finance, and having a great network, having a great support system, living a healthy life, choosing healthier options, being fit, even fit, being healthy mentally, putting yourself in a state of well-being. That's just what I know that awesome living should be about. So when you're living your best life, are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you wealthy? And just looking at it from that perspective. But sometimes life is not balanced. And like a popular slang that goes around, you're like, this life is not balanced. Yeah, so sometimes actually life is not balanced, and sometimes you have to know what to compromise for what at certain stages of your life, right? So at some point you may be focused on, I just want to be happy, guys. I may not make as much money, but I just want to be happy and healthy. Some other phase of your life, you're trying to put in some more effort to make some more money. You may want to say, okay, I'm just going to cut down on some adventure time. I'm going to focus more on this particular thing that will help me make more money. Just understanding your life and being able to put things in perspective. But sometimes as you go on in this journey, you will just realize that, whoa, time has gone. I've not had time to relax. I've not had time to have fun. I've not had time to build on my knowledge. I find I've just been giving and getting exhausted. And that can be a very vicious cycle. So for instance, if you live in a city where it is very fast-paced place, you orient to work, you're coming back, you don't have time to eat very well, you just feed on junks, you don't have time for family as much, and you're just trying to hustle. You can get to a point where you're just overwhelmed and stressed. So for instance, I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and Lagos is a very, very fast-paced city. Traffic, junk lifestyle, and all of that. You have to be more intentional when you want to live a balanced life. One of the things people have always asked me before now is, how are you able to do it? You're a software developer, you have fun when you want to, you do this, you do so many things. And I used to say, just when you're passionate about something, you just want to do them. But I've come to realize that we have to be intentional, right? You have to choose what you want for your life, because if you don't, situations around you will choose for you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So being intentional about what you want your life to be, how you want your life to go. This is one thing we have to start looking at as individuals, no matter what stage you may be in your life. Right, so I just want to talk about finding rest, in this so from my perspective, for instance, as I've given you a background to awesome living and what I think it should be. This doesn't mean that there are times when I'm not stressed, and it's one thing to be stressed and you know that, man, I'm stressed, and you face it headlong and then try to address it. It's another thing when the stress comes in, you sort of know, but it's a subtle kind of stress, and you just try to take it on, and before you know it, you're already forgetting that I'm supposed to be able to manage this. You're probably not eating as well, probably not doing other things that you would normally do. Right? Maybe for one, maybe you had a lifestyle where when you wake up, you would pray, you would meditate, you would exercise, you would plan your breakfast. Maybe you're working from home, so you're able to do that. You would have your planner where you would write in your planner. You would listen to your morning affirmations. You would do your morning stretches. And this if you're part of 5 a.m. club, you get to read Robin Sharma to know that. But if you're part of 5 a.m. club, you can do all of these things before 7. And before everybody starts going around, and you've already made some progress with your day. But when you realize that these little things you usually do, some other things are beginning to take over this time. So maybe you wake up because of maybe work or some other things. You're already waking up, and there's something subtle where you're already just trying to get some other things sorted. So you forget your meditation, you forget your affirmations, you forget your stretches, and all those little things that just sort of usually brings calm to your day, and you just rush ahead. Maybe just pray for some minutes, get into work already. Fine, this can happen at some moment where you need to actually get some things done. But when it now becomes a routine, and then those little things I usually do, just make you feel like, yes, this is part of my life. I'm intentional about my wellness. I'm intentional about my spiritual health. I'm intentional about my physical health. Those things are beginning to, sort of fade away. It's going to be, your body is going to sort of begin to realize and sort of cause a change. So maybe you then, because you don't even have time to cook, you buy food a lot more, or maybe what you usually do in your routines, you're not able to do as much. You begin to see it. Your health probably will, maybe you may fall sick. Maybe you may begin to have spots. Acne could be a reaction to this. You could be beginning to have you grow fat. Some people begin to grow fat, or some people begin to grow thin too, and your body will just begin to react. So at such point, it's important that you listen to your body. So coming from like a spiritual perspective, you would see that I like the way the Message version of the Bible says in Matthew chapter 11. It says that, are you tired? Are you worn out? Are you burned out on religion? But you could be burned out on religion, or you could be burned out on work. You could be burned out on a relationship that went north or south. Okay, it's south, not south. So south, relationship that went south. Whether you're tired, worn, or burned out on any of these things, the Bible puts it as, come to me, get away with me, and you will recover life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. So walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. And that unforced rhythms of grace just call out to me that, grace covers me. So as much as I feel like many things are trying to get my attention, I'm in a phase where, maybe when you're getting into a new season of your life, some things will want to change your schedule, and but whatever season you may be, whatever stage you may be at, there is an unforced rhythm of grace. Just comes to me like a swing. You're just on the swing and you're just going forward and backward and just having a good time. There's some unforced rhythms of grace that you can learn, and this will work with you through any season, right? So it says, I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me. You will learn to live freely and lightly. So that's the Message version of Matthew chapter 11 verse 28 to 30. It says, are you tired and worn out? Are you burned out on anything? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I will show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me, work with me, watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. And this just calls out to me. So personally, I'm in that phase of my life where probably stressed from work and some other things that just got into so much to me. And sometimes you won't realize, this is why I'm doing this podcast today, to tell you that you have to be more intentional about your life. So one of my mentors will tell me that you have to be intentional about your career. So for those of you working a job, for instance, maybe you're getting so engrossed in your job that you forget to have like a career plan. So many things in life, sometimes you're in a relationship, you're so caught up in that relationship, you're not looking at your life from a bigger perspective. So as much as we are getting engrossed in certain things, maybe it's even the Christmas season, we're getting so engrossed about buying our Christmas trees, setting up for Christmas and having a good time. As much as we're doing all of this, right, we have to ensure that we don't get so caught up that we forget the little things that make our lives, awesome, that make our lives, sweet and beautiful, right? So are you tired, my friend? Listening to me, are you worn out? What is stressing you at this time? I want you, let's look at this together and see how we can help each other. I'll try to give practical examples. So for me, right, I feel like I've been stressed, but I didn't take it so much. It was subtle. So I began to lose weight. So for me, when I'm stressed, I actually lose weight. But again, because I try to do healthy living, do my exercises, don't eat late at night, try to avoid as much junk, don't take soda and all that stuff. So I felt, probably it was just a result of me trying to live healthy. But it began to come to serious people look at me like, are you okay though? Why are you so slim? Why are you losing weight? And then I still thought, oh well, it's just stress, just life. But I began to stop those things that made up my life. Like when I wake up, I do my affirmations, I eat well, I try to eat well, it's not too much, but I try to schedule and just have some sort of coherence and plan that just help my life go smooth. So I've begun to lose that rhythm, because some other things are trying to take precedence, work especially. So and then just putting all my hours into work, sleeping hours, waking hours, not reading as much. I usually would read other things, not reading as much, and my body is probably just saying, hey girl, I don't like this. And so it took some things to make me realize that truthfully, I'm beginning to lose rest. I'm beginning to lose my rhythm, and it could be this way for you too. And so now when we begin to understand this, right? How do we get back to our reading? How do we get back to our reading? I think the first thing, like we've said, is first to understand your reading. Know that this is what I usually do. This is what composes. What would so ask yourself, what would a great day look like for me? What would be the components of a great day? Then what have I been doing in the past days? Just look back. So have I actually been following what this part will look like for me? What are the things I would usually do on my very awesome days? And then what exactly have I been doing in the past few days? When you realize, so you do that analysis and say, oh, what exactly have I been doing? So you'll say, oh no, I've gone off track. So realizing that oops, I'm not in that best state of mind, I'm not in that best state of health, of wealth. It could be you losing sight of your financial goals, of your career goals, it could be of your relationship goals. And when you realize that oops, I've lost sight of what is very important to me, that thing that is important to you, that defines your best life, you can begin to say, oh, okay, let's take a break. Okay. And in Mark chapter 6, I'm a Christian, so I'll bring some Christian perspective. The Message version too. The apostles, they had gone to do some very nice stuff, and they come back to Jesus. And Jesus says, what guys, come off by yourselves. Let's take a break and get a little rest. Oh my God. So I was reading that in my Bible, and I was just like, true though, the importance of taking breaks. If you're a person who works a job, the importance of taking a vacation. Sometimes people tell you, why do you need a vacation? That you rest so that you can be recharged. I'm going to say that again. You rest to be recharged, right? So it says, Jesus tells the disciples, says, come up by yourselves. Let's take a break. Let's get a little rest, because there had been a constant coming and going. They didn't even have time to eat. I know that's the face of many people. You're just going and coming, trying to hustle. What is hustle? I'm hustling, guys. I'm hustling. And you don't have time to eat. You don't have time to, call family. You don't have time to take a break to just smell the roses, And Jesus tells us guys, he says, no, let's take a break. Let's take time to rest. So I'm going to tell you first. So when you've realized that, I'm going off track, whatever your track is, I'm going off track. So you're going to say, I'm going to take a break. So your break could be a weekend. Your break could be some hours. Your break could be some time off, depending on what time allows you. But you got to be intentional, about it. Because if you don't take that break, you could break down health-wise. You could have a mental breakdown. You could have, you could lose sight of what matters and just begin to run the rat race like everybody and live an ordinary life. And the goal is to live awesome life, not an ordinary life. So you gotta find a way to take a break. So when you take a break, you would rest in that break, and then you would probably do some stretches. I advise like stretches. There's so many stretch routines online that will help you. Do some stretches, write down your thoughts. Then have time to just visualize your calm. Visualize like a calm situation. Connect to nature, maybe. Listen to music, soothing music. Go to a spa, get a massage, use an exfoliating scrub maybe, and then watch your life. Check out the things that you would usually do, write it out. Check out what is taking your time now, write it out, then say, what do I need to change? Come up with, for instance, it could be you coming up with a meal plan. It could be you coming up with an exercise plan. It could be you saying, I'm going to change my diet. It could be you saying, I'm going to change my daily routine. I'm going to change who I call first. I'm going to change what I do when I wake up. And be breaking it down and listing it out. And then I'm probably going to sleep more, I'm going to rest more. I'm going to take some time out weekly to just go to the park or go to the beach or swim or do something that makes me happy. Okay, yeah, so this has been an interesting one for me, because as I'm talking to you guys, I'm actually talking to myself. I know that I'm going to sit down and change some of my daily routine that I've, sort of just unconsciously taken up, to do things that they're more related to what I want for my life. So you could take a warm bath, you could use exfoliations, there's these things, I can't remember the name, but yeah, just take that time off to be intentional. See, trust me, people say, oh, I'm too busy, but the thing is, in your business, trust me, you'll still find time to probably scroll through social media, watch a movie, play a game, whatever that thing is. So if you're more intentional, write down how you spend your time and begin to schedule what are important to you within your day. So maybe a call to your family, maybe when you wake up and you say, okay, today I know that when I get to work, I'm going to get so busy. So for maybe on your way to work, or maybe when you're still at home, you're going to place a call to family and say, I'm just calling in to check on you. Or maybe it's a stretch. So a morning stretch can be like 7 minutes. So many routines on YouTube you can check out. It could be you saying, I'm going to pray, I'm going to meditate, wake up and don't pick your phone up. Instead, first pray, meditate, I'm going to have a meal plan, I'm going to change my diet, and then you got to break it down into actionable steps. So there was a time for me when I was feeling really bad that I couldn't exercise as much as I wanted to. I had to take a break and say, how do I want to work in this? So for me, I realized I couldn't be doing high impact exercises because my goal wasn't to lose a lot of weight. I don't have as much fat in my body as I but just to be fit. So I said, I would probably break it down and do at least 3 days a week. I would do stretches on a Monday, because Mondays I don't want to be doing high impact exercises. I'm just going to do some morning stretches, just wake up and feel good. Maybe midweek I'll do some jump ropes, I'll do some aerobics, maybe towards the end of the week I'll do some more aerobics and some more, maybe a little high impact exercise. And that's for me, that's what works for me. So that's just for exercising. So you got to look at every area of your life and say, which one am I going to do? How am I going to begin to be intentional, right? Be intentional about rest. So yeah, fam. So this is how far I've gone with this. Mental fatigue is a thing, guys. Mental fatigue. And it wears you out sometimes more than physical fatigue. People have migraine, they have headaches, so this thing. So and when you begin to notice yourself getting easily irritable, getting restless, feeling overwhelmed, having trouble sleeping, having constant worry, or making bad decisions, you should begin to come to yourself and say, Ash, I need to take a break. I hope this has clarified some things to you. Being intentional about your rest, being intentional about taking a break. taking time off, having a support group that you can talk to when you're feeling overwhelmed, and just being intentional about living your wholesome life. I hope this has clarified some things to you. If you have questions, suggestions, send them to me on my Instagram at stitude_, or send me a mail, omikunest@gmail.com, or just send me a chat. Let's talk about this. You could even record your voice response in Anchor, or just reach out to me, and we can see how to talk and just walk through finding rest in this fast-paced society that we are in. I'll just say it's been amazing talking to you guys again. It's always fun, having these conversations. I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. I want to wish you an amazing December, a Merry Christmas, end of year, sort of thing. I hope you have a very festive but restful end of year. I hope you have a memorable month, and just wish you the very, very best. Thank you for always listening to my podcast. Thank you. I hope you can share this with someone if it has blessed you. Share with them. Don't listen by yourself. Subscribe if you're listening via a subscribable platform, so that anytime I share a new podcast, you can listen to it. And just spread the love. I'm sending you lots of love, positive energy, good vibes, and I'm just wishing you an amazing day ahead. Thank you so much for listening. Yours, love, light, happiness, always. Ciao.